want to make, you know, your name known, your region known, put them solidly on the map, this is the match you got to win here.
Nobody knew their names. Japan had never won a match at an international event. But by the end of 2 weeks, Zeta Division would make history.
But the story is not over yet. They have that opportunity to be historic.
He's butted heads with some of the biggest, brawniest, hardcore players in the world, and he is doing better than his own region.
Yeah, just keep it up.
Japan as a region has never quite found their footing. The Valorant season is broken down into 3 international tournaments, 2 Masters tournaments, and then 1 Champions tournament at the end of the year to determine the best team in the world. In 2021, the 2 biggest teams in Japan were Crazy Raccoon and Zeta Division, and together they got 0 wins in the entire year. Valorant tournaments are played in best of 3s up until the upper bracket and lower bracket finals, which are played in best of 5s. Crazy Raccoon qualified for Masters Reykjavik 2021 and lost both of their games 0-2. They qualified again for Champions 2021 and once again lost both of their games 0-2. Zeta Division, however, managed to qualify for Masters Berlin of 2021 and got a single map win before immediately getting eliminated. To say that Japan has had a rough time is an understatement, but Zeta again managed to qualify for a tournament, Masters Reykjavik 2022. Zeta managed to beat their regional qualifiers comfortably, and are given one more chance to make a statement. The team at this point is led by Laz, an ex-CSGO player, and if Japan as a region has been struggling, then Laz has been the region's face of it. Coming from the Counter-Strike scene, Japan as a region has never really achieved much success. In an interview in 2018, Laz was asked about the viability of CSGO in Japan. On this, he said, "Unfortunately, CSGO isn't popular in Japan. To give you a concrete example, there is currently only 1 Japanese team beside us that enters tournaments regularly." He continues, "We've recently been able to become full-time and get something close to a salary. But as I said before, if you're not a pro player in League or on fighting games, this is nearly impossible to achieve." So, when his entire team moved games into Valorant, he was met with more of the same. Domestic success, international failure. Coming dead last in Masters Berlin was the last straw for Zeta. Something had to change. So, Zeta made the biggest gamble of their Valorant career. Keeping only Laz and Crow, they've now added Sugar Zero, Depp, and 10 to the roster. These new talents were young and very inexperienced. Where Laz saw years in the CSGO scene, these 3 rookies had barely any esports experience at all. It was a massive gamble. They had a lot to prove, and they had only 3 months to get ready to prove it. After a promising start in Japanese qualifiers, they packed their bags and went to Reykjavik. DRX is a team with a successful history in Valorant. The roster, which was then called Vision Strikers, came out of the gate in 2021 with a win streak of 102. Zeta, on the other hand, was coming into this tournament with the expectation of being dropped from the group stage. And on the first day of the tournament, it feels like it's going to be another repeat. Losing 13-3 and 13-2, these are almost humiliating losses for Zeta, making the roster decision seem almost foolish. Zeta moved down into the lower bracket for the group stage with just one thought: we'll see them again. Next, they were looking to go up against European team Fnatic. Read any of the comments from this time and they'll 100% predict a Zeta loss here. But instead, they defy the odds. Beating Fnatic 13-11 and 13-7, Zeta have not only added 2 maps to the country's tally, but they've scored the first win in Japanese Valorant history. But we're just at the start of the story. It doesn't end quite here. Because next, Zeta are playing against Ninjas in Pajamas, a team that's iconic for its dominance in CSGO. Undoubted, this would be Zeta's toughest matchup yet. And after the first map, it would seem like the miracle ends here. A 13-6 map loss is less than confidence boosting for Zeta, but it should be kept in mind that the newbies are keeping up. After the first map, it's Sugar Zero, 10, and Depp that stand at the top of the team's leaderboard. Depp in particular is shaping up to be a fantastic Jet player, so much so that he performs in the next map, securing another map win for Zeta with 26 kills. And then it all comes down to the final map, and the score comes down to 12-12. Normally, these matches play to 13, but the teams need to win by 2 rounds. So into overtime we go. One mistake would send them home. NIP managed to get the bomb planted, but thanks to a wonderfully timed flank from Sugar Zero, Zeta were able to push the attacking team into a tough situation and effectively pincer them. This now means that Zeta are only 1 round away from qualifying to playoffs. I'll let this next round play out for you.
The wrong read, and now he's gonna have to tail his way back over here. He's close, they saw him, he's flashed.
Oh my gosh! 10 lands a shot, find the opening, not able to get the second. His BZN holds fast, but he's gonna have to hold his nerve, as there's a whole lot more headed his way. 3 remain for NIP. It all comes down to this. It's all coming with Zian and Jan in this 2v4. Crow with the spike down, 13 seconds left. You can almost taste it, they're so close. But the job's not done. Zian running for the fences.
Oh no!
As Depp gets caught. Still a good chance to make this thing happen, but you've got to be careful. Jane and Kalanzin have been so good together, and they get it down to a 2v2. Surely not like this. Crow with one big kill. Kalanzin, the young player for NIP, to try to make it happen, and it's not going to. For your team, for your region, Japan, take a bow and welcome to the playoff stage.
大丈夫だ。黒頼んだ。ラスト確定してんすよ。フラッシュどうだ。降りてきたかも。日本代表快挙です。みんなありがとう。快挙です。選手もお疲れ。
Zeta have brought Japan to their first ever playoffs, signifying that they, as a region, can be taken seriously. They're finally being noticed, and their underdog status has written their name in stars. Even a compilation of them yelling nice is making the rounds online. Nice. Yet, still, they've crossed the first hurdle. But the title is a mountain, because amongst the teams that have qualified for playoffs, they will be playing up against Team Liquid, Optic, and DRX, the team that took them to the lower bracket. Zeta would have to wait to run into DRX again, as they'd first face off against a talented G2 roster that would handily beat them and take Zeta back down to the lower bracket. Once again, Zeta put on a razor's edge between staying in the tournament and going home. The pressure would raise still as they run into Team Liquid. Team Liquid is one of the most established organizations in all of esports. Even in Valorant, they've been a force to be reckoned with, and are one of the contenders to win the tournament. Back in Europe, they had assembled a powerful squad, and now they stand between Zeta and staying alive. At this point, the fans are already congratulating Zeta for making it this far. It's the end of the little team that could, until the first map ends. And Zeta have beat them 13-7. Zeta's hopes, while still small, are more alive than they were ever expected to be. But Liquid aren't interested in taking this lying down. Being led by Scream, a player with the highest headshot percentage in all of Counter-Strike, Liquid hit back and beat Zeta 13-4 on the next map.
It's anybody's game at this point. It's not necessarily that Liquid have all the momentum and now they're going to win map 3. I think it just showcases that it depends very much so on the map which team is actually going to be able to get the advantage. And now everything is on the line for map 3.
It all comes down to the decider. And Zeta, against all odds, beat the favorites. The dream stayed alive and the world was watching, because outside of Depp's impressive displays on Jet, Sugar0 is proving himself to be one of the best players in the world at playing Astra, keeping up with the most established smokes players in the world. And while this era of Valorant is infamous for the dominance of chamber players, Laz has stood out from the crowd as an especially talented chamber player, performing as one of the best in the world on this agent. The veterans and the rookies alike are finding their form with their unique playstyle. At this point in Valorant, the slow, calculated style of Zeta was something that had never been performed to this level. Teams in 2022 tended to play faster, more aggressive. Scream had been iconic because he was one of the players most effective at charging in and leaving bodies at his wake. But Zeta found their antidote to it. Playing at such a slow pace, they instead prioritized slowly taking control of the map in silence. Against teams that weren't used to information gathering, it left them in the dark. Teams could not understand where and when they were about to be hit, which gave Zeta an opening. Remember DRX? The team that sent them to the lower bracket? They're back. And this time Zeta have brought something new. They were determined for things to be different this time. It was here that Zeta really showed off a tool in their back pocket, the Viper Surfer combo. One of Viper's abilities is a molly that damages anyone who touches it, but it also applies the vulnerable effect. Anyone with this effect takes double damage, so when you pair that with a piece of utility like Server Shock Dart, for example, you can make magic happen.
Not going to be particularly easy though. That's huge, that's huge!
Beautiful from Crow.
Even still, DRX made the first map close, with Zeta closing it out 13-11. They had a game on their hands.
Zeta! They win map 1!
I am absolutely lost for words.
DRX chose the map Ascent, and despite Zeta having the forward momentum after map 1, Buzz needed to show them who they were playing against.
ハンタースキューリーとオスタエントリー返している中にまだ隠れてる2対2落下したバズを抑えきることができないワンオンツー黒ショート一番バレている最後は RB
The higher up the mountain they go, the more treacherous the climb. DRX closed out the second map 13-10. It once again came down to the final map to determine who was going home. But at this point, Zeta have learned that they thrive under the pressure.
天ここは無理にいや無理にいったショーストッパーパーティータイムだスパイクがヘブンに落ちたこれ取り返すのかなり困難ですよセストがメドリル飛ばした RB 一歩引きますシュガーゼロ正面から勝負1人左側に2人状況はどうだ2人倒してコズミックディバイドすぐさま 接触頭に入るそこを抑えたの黒さあ接近から見てみきますね成功に起きている黒が抑えたどうなんだ時間はあるぞカイトにある止めろフラッシュ黒止めろどうする壁ブラストバックはありません味方が壁を入れた完璧だこれが日本のバロラント
Play after play, Zeta were managing to maintain their strategy that would not crack under stress. After a while of watching, you could easily forget who came into this tournament expecting to win it all and who came in as the underdogs. Closing it out 13-4, Zeta have made it to the top 4. They have a real chance at winning this. Paper Rex were the next opponents for Zeta. Representing Singapore, they were waving the flag of another small region themselves. In 2025, they're considered one of the best teams of all time, but Zeta were uninterested in the legacies of other teams. They were writing their own. Beating Paper Rex 13-2 on Haven, they close out the best of 3. Zeta, once a team without a win, are now one step away from the grand finals. That one step, however, was Optic.
On one side you have Zeta, who everybody is rooting for, and Optic are the team that come in and they want to ruin that story and make it about themselves.
Optic was undoubtedly the most intimidating opponent they've met thus far. The team in later years was considered one of the best North American teams of all time, consistently playing highly at international events. And here they are in the lower bracket final. Remember, best of 5 wins in the lower bracket final. Zeta need to prepare to bring their best effort yet. Opening up the first map, Zeta drew first blood, taking home not only the first round, but the following 4 rounds in a row. No matter the stature of their opponent, Zeta were here to play. After stabilizing by half-time to a 7-5 half, Optic were hit yet again with another 4 rounds in a row, going to Zeta. This puts the underdogs in prime position to win the first map, but Optic's team captain Finesse is uninterested in a send-off so soon. He slowly began to understand Zeta's strategies. Shukazero and Depp continued to play out of their minds, but Optic's continued brilliance pulled out a 15-13 win in overtime. Zeta's success up to this point can largely be attributed to their pacing. Teams weren't used to the control and timing that Zeta employed, making them an unpredictable opponent. But Finesse, equally, was a captain that understood pacing. Additionally, this was during the Chamber era of Valorant, when he had a 77 pick rate and redefined how teams played. While Zeta had one of the best Chamber players in the world on their team, Optic have the Chamber player on their team. Yay.
He's dodged the flash and he's found the shot. Once again holding it down. Not quite a gap in the smoke, but he wants to play close to the wall. Dash up into the air! You've got to be kidding me!
Things don't start out well on map 2. Optic's Victor and Ye continue to pull out individual plays that can counter Zeta's playstyle. Laz is playing Chamber and is being outmatched by Ye's incredible aim. And despite 10's best efforts for Zeta, they can't hold on anymore. They lose the map 13-5. With it all on the line, it's taken to map 3. Shukazero has been an unsung hero the entire tournament. Even while playing a fairly passive agent like Astra, he's consistently been racking up kills and valuable plays, and he does not stop on bind. But Laz's plays can't keep up with Optic. Finesse has always been a captain of adaptation, and once he's seen a play once, he understands it. Optic are reading Zeta like a book. The fans in Japan are staying up until 4 AM for this match, and they stayed up to watch the miracle end. Optic win 13-8, sending Zeta home. Zeta came in as nobodies, and they left as heroes. At 26 years old, Laz had spent his entire competitive career in a region that did not care about his success, and he instead became a trailblazer for the Japanese Valorant scene. Zeta became the second most watched team in Masters Reykjavik, proving that they captured the world's attention. And the big gamble that the organization made on 3 unproven talents paid off. Zeta didn't win the tournament, but they undeniably won the hearts of the world. Laz eventually retired from playing Valorant professionally, becoming a full-time streamer. Zeta, not being able to maintain this level, had to release a lot of their players in order to bring new people in. Today, only Shukazero remains active on the roster, chasing glory with Zeta. The team that shocked the world never reached these heights ever again. But for 2 weeks in Iceland, they were legends.